I tell you what a finish last night. You just saw it unfold. We got to talk about it now with the king of soccer in H-Town. Glenn Davis, good to see you, man.
Randy, it's nice to be back.
Voice of the Dynamo, host of Soccer Matters on 97.5 ESPN Radio here in town. Man, what a finish. The fans went crazy. You can see the excitement from the players. That was fun to see.
Tremendous night of drama. I think the fans are really enjoying the product now that's on the field that Pat Onstad and this team has put together. There's a wonderful collective spirit, and it's spilling over to the fans. And, of course, penalty kicks leads to tremendous drama, and it was there last night.
You've been here for a long time. You've seen some good years. You've seen some lean years with the Dynamo. What's been the difference this year for the head coach, Ben Olsen, and these guys?
Yeah, I think it's a collective thing. I think, number one, 17 players. You've turned the roster over. You've got real experienced players from Europe. Hector Herrera played at Atletico Madrid. You got Eric Sviatchenko, who played in Scotland with Celtic. So it's a roster turnover. It's a bigger plan. It's more staff on the competitive side. And a coach that's hardened in Major League Soccer, and Ben Olsen. And, it's all really together. The one thing that I always look at is when you see players playing for each other and a coach, you know something's working.
It's been so fun all season long, but let's say the last month or so, they played very well at home. That crowd is a difference maker, and they pointed it out last night. They kind of fed off of that energy, and they're going to need that moving forward now in the Western Conference semifinal.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. And I think the Dynamo are really kind of one of the big hidden secrets in town in sports. I know there's a lot going on with, obviously, the Astros and the Texans and everything.
Yeah.
But, you got a world-class soccer player orchestrating, leading this team, who's been the captain of Mexico. Mm-hmm. He's absolutely entertaining to watch play the game, but also instruct his team. So he'll drop off deep in a game, start talking to his backs, come into midfield, get high up the field as a striker. He's everywhere. But if you ever wanted to watch a leader really instruct the team, define tactics, it's Hector Herrera.
And your thoughts on Ben Olsen, the job he's done and his approach, his style? The players obviously have bought into his system.
Yeah, I think, look, when he first came here, if we're being upfront, people were concerned about Ben Olsen being the coach. He was in D.C. Maybe it wasn't a sexy enough hire, but I think they've grown to really like him. He's a high competitor. He's always been a passionate guy. I sense that he's getting he's in a really calming, good place right now. The beginning of the year when it wasn't clicking, you're anxious, I think, as a coach. I think he's in a really good place now. He's got an exceptional staff, and he's got a superstar DP that needs to be the best player every game, and is.
All right, looking ahead now. We got to move forward because here in a matter of, another week, 10 days, it's Western Conference semifinal round at home. How critical is that they've earned that opportunity to host this game against Sporting KC?
Well, I think most people would say you weren't going to be in a Western Conference semifinal here. This has really turned around quickly, and I think it turned around quickly about, the end of July Leagues Cup when Griffin Dorsey became the right back for the Dynamo. It added a new element to their attack that really complemented everything else that was going on. But Sporting Kansas City, it's a great rival. It's Peter Vermees, another U.S. international. It's Johnny Russell. It's Alan Pulido, a Mexican international. So
it's a rivalry too.
It is the biggest rivalry for the Houston Dynamo. I know there's some people out there who are going to say it's FC Dallas. Sorry, it's Sporting Kansas City.
I asked you when you got here today. They won the title, Dynamo 06-07, and you quickly said, "Great, it was awesome for the organization, but." It's a different league now. You got a lot of soccer clubs out there, a little bit different from what it was back then, but this is a healthy Major League Soccer.
Yeah, no question. I mean, there's 29 teams in the league now. I think the marketing, the Apple TV deal, I mean, there's so much going on for players now. And you even look back at 6 and 7, and I used to look at those guys and go, man, that looks good based on what I was doing in the 80s.
Yeah.
Now they're doing the same thing, looking at the time period now and just seeing the evolution of the game, the social media attention, the fan bases, the supporters, and how integrated these teams are in markets all around America.
Last question. When you look at the matchup with Sporting KC, you know how to break it down better than anybody. Is this a good matchup for the Dynamo?
Well, I think it's a great matchup. It's two very aggressive teams. They love the pressing game at times. They both can hit you in transition. There's a lot of similarities. It's two fiery coaches. I think there's going to be a lot of up and down football in that game, and I think you'll see two teams going for it because it is single elimination.
All right, it's coming up November 25th, 26th, one of those days at Shell Energy, and I mean, it's going to be a packed house. I know the Dynamo taking a step closer. Western Conference semifinals. Has a good ring to it. Dynamo are there against Sporting KC. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us.
Always, Randy.
The voice of the Dynamo, Mr. Soccer here in Houston, Glenn Davis. Good to see you, man.
I'd like to see you, Randy.